Hey, everybody, welcome to Monday Morning Musings. It's been a while. I've been working on a number of different projects throughout the entire summer, and now that fall is here, we're halfway through October. I figure I'd give you an update in person since the studio is looking pretty good right now. First of all, 109 new plant species were installed here at the Gray Estate, and it's great to have a number of different plants that I can use to season my food or add much to the carbohydrates of the protein, a little bit of fat. Just drizzles a little bit of olive oil on top of the vegetables. That's where you get your fat from. I'm on a really, really strict diet right now. Shout out to Strong Life Fitness, trying to lose that weight and get the gains at the same time, especially over the winter months. But having a very strict plan and knowing what to eat, when to eat it, has been really good for me and almost therapeutic in how to schedule my time better throughout the day and allow me to focus on something for like 2 hours straight. Boom, knock it out. And then, all right, time to eat. Knock that out. Boom, get right back to work. It's been working out so far. So if you're in the area, check out Strong Life Fitness. Also, helping my neighbors has been a lot of fun. That alleyway that's over here, we had one person over the summer drop off a bunch of trash, and we caught them on camera. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. Afterwards, the neighbors all banded together, and we sorted through the trash as one of them was taking it to the dump. We found different addresses, most likely coming from the perpetrator. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. That was fun. And working with my neighbors as well, my 79-year-old neighbor, Nan, who lives just down the street, I helped her with a variety of projects, from cutting off the top of her fence to capstone with some sealant in order for the fence to last much longer. It's probably got a couple more years before she wants to replace the whole fence. And as well as cutting down and trimming bushes. And then on another property, we cut down an apple tree. She was sick of dealing with the rotting apples every year, so we cut that down. And it was fun to put my power tools to the test and to shout timber during that event. So she's doing well. Her partner, Rex, who's older than her, and he's getting around. They're doing okay. But it was tough when the fires of Mordor descended upon us from the crazy wildfires that have been happening. It's been clear skies over a number of weeks now, and luckily we've had a number of days of rain, which has definitely helped wash out the atmosphere around us from all that smoke and fire, fumes, and ash. Climate change. But the overall weather today has been bright and sunny, so I was able to get a little bit of work done outside and harvest this week the rest of the peppers that I have out front. The house. So if you can imagine an attic full of boxes stacked taller than me, and organizing each of those boxes and scrapbooking photos and memories and trying to figure out, how am I going to put what goes where? How is this going to work? So bringing all of the boxes down from the attic, organizing them down here, and figuring out what's knickknacks, what are collectibles, what should be kept, what should be donated, and what is just straight up going to the recycling. And it was a daunting task. It still is a daunting task, because I still have a couple more items to go. But if you could imagine back in your school days when you had an essay and it was, you knew it was due, you knew when the due date was, but you kept pushing it off because you knew you didn't want to tackle it. You didn't want to touch it. You didn't want to think about trying to tackle it because it was so much work. Well, that's what this felt like. But we got through it, and even going through some of the old pictures and memories, it was a lot. However, the magical part about it was I was able to see a lot of memories and history and awesome times that remind you why people celebrate the holidays and why the holidays are such a big deal for families and for kids growing up. But a lot of great memories that were captured in those photo albums, and being able to capture a few of them on my camera on my phone and send them to my family leading up to my parents' 35th anniversary. So the timing of everything in that world and working on that project and getting it done within that time frame was pretty neat, but it was daunting. And that meant I had to take a break from making content. I had to take a break from a lot of different things that I was doing consistently, because they had to get done in a certain small amount of time frame, not just for my parents' 35th anniversary, but also with nature and the changing of the seasons and the temperature dropping, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes in life, you have to categorize what's the most important thing I should be doing now. Let me get that done so it's not hanging over me when I'm trying to accomplish everything else. And now being on the other side of it, it does feel so much better. It does feel like I have that weight off my shoulders. Now, the project is still ahead of me. I have a whole room dedicated to scrapbooking now, which I'll get to here and there. But it's worth it because categorizing those memories and turning the attic into now a family library makes the place feel more special. And whenever my parents decide to come back to this part of the United States with their awesome trailer and they want to hook up here, go over to Ocean Shores, I look forward to working with my parents on improving the house even more and showcasing each of the different libraries that I made and converting that upper attic bedroom area into more of a loft. So once again, there's plenty of projects as a homeowner that I couldn't even fathom. I didn't even understand, even growing up with a dad who's an amazing handyman, worked construction and was a foreman and all sorts of those types of jobs, was able to remodel the first house that I can remember. And seeing the photos before he remodeled it and added a whole new master bedroom and bathroom and dining room, quite an amazing feat. And I appreciate it so much more now in my 30s, understanding more and more how the handiwork, the tools, the ins and outs of a house work, from the plumbing to the electrical to all sorts of stuff. There's so much more that I don't know and that I'm down to learn and understand. But one of the conversations I had with my dad, since he gives me great advice over the phone, but it's much different when you can watch it on YouTube. That YouTube has been such an amazing educational resource for do-it-yourself. But I did see a couple memes that were pretty funny of these comics with people doing do-it-yourself, where all you need is this handy-dandy saw and this tool and that tool that costs thousands of dollars for some people. But it has been a worthwhile endeavor to learn the ins and outs of this house and to have so much more appreciation for the technical work, the craftsmanship, and the artistry it takes for these blue-collar jobs that keep these homes going. So the house itself, after organizing the attic into a library, and I have a couple more boxes and items to go through that are keepsakes and whatnot, but it's organized. I know where stuff is. And then I have the scrapbook room that once I finish all those items, that'll turn into a dedicated office/voiceover studio. I have some more sound gear I can put in there. Then I can expand that into an editing bay. Whenever we do host a major event here at the studio, that room will have 2 to 3 editors that can crank content out. As I was going through each of these different boxes, I found items as old as 1865. I even found a piece of the Berlin Wall. So as tempted as I was to just take every single box and go, you know what, I'm never going to use these items, I need to donate them, which I did for a number of items. I did for crochet, I did for old curtains, I did for a number of items that I thought somebody could use this, just not here, not my style. I don't see how this could be sold as a collectible. Let's give it away. And I had an entire U-Haul van load to take to give away to Value Village. But it was a better feeling because I wasn't taking it to the recycling center where it's going to go through that whole process, and who knows what stuff's going to actually be thrown out, what stuff's going to be reused. These were arts and crafts materials that somebody out there was like, this is vintage, I could use it. That entire process of looking at an item and deciding, okay, is there value in this item? Should I hold on to it, try to sell it online, try to sell it in person? Or is it more of a donation type of item that it still has value to somebody and that I still should maybe do something with it in order to help the environment instead of it getting made or what, you know what I mean, going down these crazy roads or going to the trash. And for those amount of items, it was just a sheer volume, the amount. But we made it after multiple dump runs, recycling center runs. My buddy Ishmael, shout out to him, who helped me with one of the run chores. We went to specific recycling center areas to get rid of old televisions, fluorescent tubes. Then we had to go to Habitat for Humanity, where we had to get rid of some old latex paint. And I'm looking around, nobody's there. I see a pile of stuff. I'm like, I'm just going to leave this paint here. Then you see the guy come out of the warehouse section. He puts his arms up like this. And I yell, hey, I got latex paint. What do you want me to do with it? And he comes down and he looks at the different sizes. And he's like, well, it costs money for us to take this stuff. So this big gallon, this 5-gallon bucket's going to be like $20. This one's $5, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't even have the register open. I said, well, can I just give you $20 right now? He's like, yep. Cool. Bye. See ya. So that was an easy negotiation to better help the environment. The moral of the story of this entire project that I've gone through and that my parents went through, I mean, I have to also emphasize that my parents went through an entire garage sale to get rid of so many different items. And the items that they couldn't sell, I saw with the tape and the price point on it when I went through it. I sincerely will work on not being a hoarder and having so many items to lug around. Now that I'm going to be in one place for a significant amount of time, it's easy, I'm sure, to collect a number of items throughout so many different adventures. But the item really doesn't have any use if it's sitting in a box in your attic, not doing anything. The only real reason I can see of having something like that is if it's seasonal. You know, if it's for Christmas or items from a wedding or something that's very special, but use it as a project to put on display. Make something out of it. It's, I guess I was talking to my mom about this. And my mom's like, I don't enjoy doing that. I don't enjoy doing that. I go, you know what, Mom, I don't understand where I got the bug from to be organized, but I just think of it as a set. I think of it as a studio. I kind of think of it as a producer. Every single room in my house, I'll probably except the bedroom, or the laundry room, that'd be kind of a tight fit, could be a camera shot. Could be a set, could be a backdrop for a shot. And I prefer to have things clean and organized, personally for that reason, but then for the outward reason of having fun-ass parties, having kick-ass times. And the more floor space that you have, the less junk that you have that you don't use, it's more floor place that you can use for all sorts of activities, you know, having parties or workout equipment, etc. So that entire process was monumental because it encapsulated my grandmother's life, along with my childhood, my siblings' childhood, and my parents' lives, all collected into these different boxes and sorting through it. So if any of you have to go through that type of stuff in the future, I give you all the best vibes that I can, because I don't think I would not have believed anybody telling me how much of a daunting task it is to go through the memories of other people. And I hope to keep my stuff categorized, organized, and the great stuff on display, and the more precious stuff hidden away for sure. But to make the best use of the space that I have. Okay, enough about the old stuff. But it was quite an endeavor. The capstone to the endeavor, though, was finally getting the oven and the dishwasher that I ordered on the 4th of July. I ordered those online for a great deal through Lowe's. But due to the virus or whatever, it took them until it took them until mid-September for them to finally deliver the products. And when I had installed the dishwasher, I realized that I needed to get a second water outlet valve. So if you look under your sink, you'll see the valve from the cold water that goes to your sink, and then the hot water. And usually there's, an end cap that you can screw on to keep the water going or to stop it, that valve. Well, the valve only had one outlet for hot water, and that was going to the sink. I needed two outlets from the hot water line, one to go to the sink and the other to go to the dishwasher. Well, thanks to watching YouTube and remembering things that my dad did back in the remodeling days, and all the years of playing video games and figuring out puzzles and how to solve this stuff, I order the valve and turn off the electricity, turn off the power, switch the breakers. But the funny part about the breakers that are labeled is the breaker labeled main. And I flipped the main breaker, thinking, okay, that's going to take care of all the breakers. But I flipped all the other ones just in case. The first time that I worked with the dishwasher to take out the old one and install the new one. Well, it looks like the main didn't switch off all the breakers, because the next time that I turned off the breakers, I'm just going to hit off main. And then I was installing the dishwasher. I was doing my best not to touch that hot wire, but it looks like I did. I electrocuted myself a little bit, just a little bit, but it was enough to realize, yeah, don't take this shit lightly. Very serious. However, totally fine. It was a bit of a buzz. It kind of felt like when you touch that 9-volt battery to your tongue, and you feel that dull buzz or whatever. That's what it felt like throughout my entire left arm. So yeah, don't trust the labeling of a circuit breaker if one says main. You gotta know what each of the breakers do. But luckily, I got a great neighbor, Steven, who's an electrician for the city, and he came over, checked it out. We were able to label it and go through all of that fun stuff. So installing the new dishwasher and the new oven has been an absolute dream, to have an oven with all the burners at work. And it also has an air fryer inside, so I can make homemade French fries in 15 minutes. I can make succulent chicken, 380 degrees, boom, 10 minutes, flip 10 minutes. It's amazing. I am so glad I have these tools, because it has made all of the meal prep and the cooking so much more enjoyable and so much easier when it comes to cleanliness, and probably wasting less water by using a dishwasher for one load at night than using the sink. But it feels like all of these projects, budgeting endeavors that I had completely just listed and so much to do, and it weighs on you day and day and day on top of entire pandemic happening, and watching your savings start to run dry. It has been a gauntlet. But now that we're going through towards the end of the year and trying to survive this winter, I'm in a good place. The studio's in a good place. The house is in a good place. The garden's in a good place. All these things are in great places. And to have to juggle so many different things at once was difficult, which is why I had to take a break from being on camera and making content. But the folks over at NetherRealm have not taken a break. They have showed off Combat Pack 2, which I'm excited for. I'm really excited for, because we get to play Melina in Mortal Kombat 11. I've not been able to pre-order a PlayStation 5. I don't even know if I can afford it. I'm trying to debate whether if I want to get a new video card so I can edit videos faster off of the broadcast machine, or get a PS5. I don't even know if I can afford both right now. Food comes first. But we'll see where that goes. I had a suspicion that the PlayStation 5 was either going to be delayed or have some sort of issue with meeting the amount of orders because of manufacturing. There's so many factors and things that people don't realize the ripple effect of this entire pandemic. And we're still going through it. But the studio itself, so I told you about the attic with the house. The studio has a storage space up here as well that my father and my brother Luke made. And I had to bring down all those different boxes. And I got to say, about a third of it was Christmas stuff. But bring it all down, checking it out, organizing it. But I had to do it slowly, surely, and steadily, because there are 2x6s that create a cross section for the storage space above me, like a false ceiling. And I had to make sure I kept my weight on those 2x6s, kind of like Indiana Jones on The Last Crusade, right? I almost felt like Sean Connery was shouting from a distance, but Jehovah starts with an I. So staying on those boards and moving those boxes, keep my weight there, made sure they didn't fall through. But that was a fun adventure in and of itself. But all that stuff's been cleared away. The only thing that I have up in storage right now are a couple of these sound dampening bars that I'm thinking of, do I want to install on this wall now? Or do I want to wait until we remodel this section and then put them in? I think I will install them now just for the aesthetic part, but also to help with some sound dampening. But the studio's looking good. There are technically 3 sets that are here. This is the podcast set. Then right next to me is a green screen. And then further from there is where we'll have a couch for players to sit, or the commentators can sit here. We can switch it up. So there's 3 different camera sections, along with an entire production line on the other side. And this reminds me of one of the studios that we had at ESL with the same capabilities. The only thing really lacking is a better light grid, which, like I said, I had to climb through this false ceiling. So that's a project for the spring. And then to lay in better electric out here. And that's going to require digging through, putting down a new piece of PVC, and then run some Ethernet lines, so we have the 1 gig up and down Ethernet hardwired back here. And that's really it. There's not a whole lot of construction to do other than small improvements, unless we wanted a complete overhaul. So the crazy whirlwind of trying to put all this stuff together, using the income of learning how to bartend over the last 2 years. Now, can't bartend right now because most of the bars are closed. And mixing that together with some ingenuity and the things that I learned being a producer for so many years, it feels like it's coming together. And there's a number of days when you are going the independent route, the independent journey, that you don't feel you can make it, that you're like, I'd rather go back to another job that pays me a lot more money. But you keep thinking about the future. You keep thinking about, what are you motivated by? Are you motivated by the methods or the results? The methods are tough, but the results, I'm seeing a glimpse. I'm seeing a glimmer, and it feels great. I was able to do a number of charity events over the summer as well, and I am very grateful to have been a part of that, but also to showcase a bit of the studio capabilities as well. Hopefully we can do something again over the winter, but if not, I'm making content over this winter. I'm going to be live. I'm going to be making skits. I'm going to be bringing on musical guests, artists, trying to showcase different music. We want to put together a 420 event. So there's wheels are spinning here. I'm working as best as I can with what I got to make some great content. And because I have to. There's this fire inside that won't stop burning unless I do it. And that has been one of the best outcomes of this entire experience is I feel even more solidified in what I am doing and what I want to be doing. And that's a good feeling. Now it's getting through all the bullshit and the obstacles that we have to fight through, not just for myself, but for my entire country and for all of you, and trying to fight to make sure the best ideas win. But yeah, the studio is up and running, and with step-by-step improvements, I'm looking forward to really making something great for the next 3, 5, 10 years from this space. And make sure to say subscribe for more info in that section. Okay, let's talk about the present. Let's talk about the country. It's not doing well medically. We're not doing well medically, all right? Attitude reflects leadership. Great quote from Remember the Titans. Shout out to my family, Mandatory and Luke. We all loved that movie growing up, especially my brother Luke. But that's a great film. Attitude reflects leadership. Cases right now for COVID are on the rise, and it would appear the executive branch is suffering the ramifications of denying the Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg her dying wish of not having her seat filled until after the election. Now, I remember the cruel machinations of the Republicans during the final term of President Barack Obama when he nominated Neil Gorsuch to the then vacancy. The hypocrisy is staring all of us in the face, and it has been for a long time. But the end-all be-all is this. This political theater is killing us. Let's talk about the future. New consoles. If you get one, congratulations. Again, I may have to wait until Christmas or I may have to wait till next year. But Ultimate MK11 looks dope. And to see that game in action in true 4K, even the sections that go down to 30 frames per second, like the fatalities, just to load all the images and everything, if that can be full on 60 or 120, so smooth. It's going to look amazing. It's going to look good. It's going to look good. And that's it. Everything else has been delayed, right? All of these superhero movies that we're looking forward to has been delayed. There are a number of announcements that are cool, especially with HBO Max. I'm looking forward to The Suicide Squad, whatever James Gunn's bringing to the table. There's a lot of fun things in store, but we have quite a vacuum that we're going to experience in the future because there has been such a lack of creating content. And there's creative ways to make stuff, but it's going to be different. Now, the final thing, outside of us hanging on to see if we're going to get a stimulus check or not before the winter comes, and if we're really going to have a Thanksgiving and a Christmas, or if people can't afford that, or they're going to put it on credit cards. The delay of stuff is, it puts movie theaters and the entire ecosystem of performance, as it already has a number of months ago, just completely bonkers, right? And the understanding and the knowledge of an acceptance as a performer is I'm not going to be able to perform in front of a big crowd as an actor or a host for a video game tournament for a while. Stand-up comedy, maybe there's, pockets here and there where they're able to put some stuff together, which is great, but a full-on performance, I think of Shakespeare in the Park. I think of all these different forms of art that are going to adapt, are going to change. And as we move further and further into the digital world, there's going to be more of a hunger for the real, a hunger for really seeing a performance. And that is a bit of the silver lining that I hold on to. That's a bit of the silver lining as a performer in this economy of what I can look forward to in the future. But as a realist right now, it's day job time. So after the election, looking for day jobs that I can probably walk to, which would be great. The airport, which is not too far, was always my backup plan, but with not a lot of people traveling, we'll see. There's maybe some work from home options, but at least having a plan and knowing, making content, having a studio, and putting on some dank shows, especially for Mortal Kombat, is my future. but I have to have an income and I have to be able to use that income to put away. It can't just be for me to survive every month and be okay. It's stocks and savings and building that stuff up so that when I wake up 10, 11, 12 years from now and I'm in my mid 40s and I have nothing to show financially from what I've built, that's not the place that I want to be. I was able to make my dreams come true, living in LA and doing so many different projects, but not the financial dreams. So that's the goal, is to still have the fire and the passion of an artist, to make this type of stuff that I love, to entertain you all, to make a living out of it, but also not to have to sacrifice it if I can't make a full-on living and get a day job. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see if we still have a country after this election. It's nuts. It's crazy. But I can only do the best I can with what I can control and with what I got. And I got you. So thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Tell your friends. We're going to have some fun on this channel all winter long. Live gameplay. More of these Monday morning musings. Oh, and this week, an all-new JGray podcast with a guest. That's right. I'll see you online. Bye-bye.